Me?
I just want to talk real quick about number 7, about that adult sexually oriented business. If y'all allow that to come into this county, you're going to be doing the taxpayers and your county people that live here a great disservice. I don't think they need to be here. I don't want them here. And if y'all can see your way to it that they don't have the opportunity to even buy a piece of property or open that business, I sure would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Shocker.
Thank you.
Cheryl Moy?
I am Cheryl Moy, and I'm here to talk about the food bank that was on Monday. I just want to thank you for blessing our community with that. In the times of turmoil that we seem like we all have different opinions of how we run things, I want to say that it was a true blessing to me to be able to go out there and to see. I think that was a wonderful decision that was made by Commissioners Court to allow this. It's a nutritionally based program, and it was run so smoothly. Everybody, the little ladies or people that couldn't get out of their cars were able to drive through. I've never seen so much. There were a lot of different volunteers, but the people that were there might have different opinions in here, but we all worked together out there, and it was a true blessing to me. And I want to thank y'all for making that possible for the citizens of our county, because not everybody is part of it. They are in the Eagleford Shell, but they aren't getting the monies and stuff. And there are really, truly people that need that. And it's not just a selected group of people, but it's everybody. And I got to visit with some of the little people I hadn't seen, and it's also a stimulus for the widows. They pick up their little friends and they drive in their cars, and you make it possible for them that they can not have to get out, but they still had that, and nobody was looked upon as being this or that, or it was just a great thing. So commissioners, thank you for allowing that food bank to serve the residents, all the residents of Karnes County.
Thanks, Ms. Moore. And thank you for helping us. We love having you out
Yeah,
there.
and I, you know what? I wasn't there the other times. I wasn't able to really. I was just kind of invited. I think you told me that. Why don't you come over there? And I thought,
We got your number now, Ms. Moore.
I'm like, you know what?
You know where she lives.
I mean, you know what?
We'll pick you up on the way.
I felt like I was walking away with more than what I did. So it was a good thing. So everybody elected, thank you for allowing that for our county.
Thank you, Boyd.
Mr. Yarder? I don't know if he wants to speak or not.
Maurice.
Mr. Yarder, you signed up to be a citizen. Do you want to? Okay. Philip Wright?
How are y'all doing today?
Good
I
morning,
appreciate
Mr.
the
Wright.
time. I came to talk about item number 7 as well. I live out on County Road, I actually call it Dusty Road 127, but anyway, you know, if we allow this sort of trash to inundate our county, it'll make it, what trash is on the side of the road right now seem like nothing, because nothing ever good comes by letting a criminal element, which is sexually oriented material. People can do it behind their own closed doors if they choose to. You got the internet, you got the mail service, you can subscribe to stuff. But our children to and from school, people to and from church, don't need to be having this sort of neon, I won't use the word that came to mind, but we don't need to have this in our face 24/7. We are behind getting utilities to good people that are trying to make an honest living, and there's just so many other public services. The sheriff department is just getting up to speed with the extra deputies coming on board, and we don't need to have more distractions out in the county to where, you know, it would take even more resources to really keep an eye on these folks. And you know, these people make tons of money many other ways, and they sure as heck don't need to come and bother our way of life in Karnes County. And that's all I have to say. I'll put up with chug holes and dusty roads, but my goodness, you know, please don't allow scumbags to come in here, worse than carpetbaggers, to come in here and take over our way of life and pollute our children's minds and even the minds of us old folks. You know, we've got enough on our minds as it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Ryan. Well, the next item on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove an order providing for licensing and regulation of sexually oriented businesses in unincorporated areas of Karnes County, Texas, providing penalties, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. And the author is me. And I would like to tell Mr. Shakami and Mr. Wright, I hate to disappoint you, but the idea is to keep them out. This was not to let them come in.
Okay.
What happened is in the Eagle Ford Shell area, the word gentleman's club is being used. And the first time I told somebody, I had somebody call and ask me about a gentleman's club, everybody kind of chuckled. Then at an ACOG meeting, Judge Rodriguez had been approached, and I've been keeping up with Commissioner DeWitt out of B County and find out that B County had been approached and McMullen County had been approached. And McMullen County, out of total unadulterated fear, probably went and had a sexually oriented businesses regulations for governing. And they had Jim Allison from Allison Bass and Associates draw it up. Well, then when McMullen County started moving towards B County, Mr. DeWitt went and got that same policy. And what it is to make sure that, because in Beeville, the Ministerial Alliance, the citizens, they were all getting together as they were concerned, because you can't really regulate how people use their property. But we can provide regulations of what we don't want to see with what they use their property for. So this is a large document that tells you the 5 million things we don't want in Karnes County. And it is the same one adopted by McMullen and B County. And so as not to reinvent the wheel, I think that I've talked to you guys about the fact that we've been having these little head-banging contests between judges of, you know, what did you do with this problem in the Eagle Ford, or what did you do? And so we're trying to share each other's ideas. That being said, what this is it's regulations concerning, it's to prohibit us from having to look at, from being away from schools, from being away from churches. The ministers in Beeville have gone through it, all these people have gone through it. And rather than reinvent the wheel and go out with Mr. Busselman and try to figure this out, we were allowed to use this because it wasn't copyrighted. So that's all that I was asking for here today, was to pass an order about licensing and stuff to make Karnes County not the place to want to come. Because unfortunately, these places are we have people that are living in conditions that they're not used to living in. We have people that aren't able to go home. We can hype the oil field all we want. We can make it look like this treasure beyond belief. These men don't get to go home. These women don't get to go home. These people are living lives they're not used to living. I mean, nobody wants to live as, here, there, A, B, C. I mean, we like to go home every night, don't we? I mean, I know all of us do. And so, but things are popping up because these people are from big cities where things happen in big cities that we're not used to seeing in small communities. We're more family-oriented. We're more value-based or moral-based, or so I would like to believe. And so that's what this policy is about, is to keep it away from us, not to bring it to us. And we can't stop people from coming here, but we can dang sure give it a heck of a try to keep them away from our families, away from our businesses, away from our churches, and away from the stuff that we don't have to see. And I think Jim Allison did a really good job on this. And if anybody wants to read it, but it's the same thing McMullen County and B County have adopted, and I'd like to be in that same boat. And so that's why it's here.
I guess I have a question for the county attorney. If we adopt it, we disapprove this, are this gonna keep them out once and forever, once and for all?
It's not gonna be a complete remedy. You'll have questions come along, and you'll have probably people trying to circumvent it, but at least you've got this in place. Okay?
By circumvent, you mean sue the
There's
county?
always a loophole, usually. You'll be looking for loopholes.
What you mean by circumvent, you mean sue the county?
Yeah. But at least you have something. Without that, you have nothing.
Yes.
And you look at some of this, and I just want to read you one paragraph out of here that I just found amusing, and it says, license required for a sexually oriented business, okay? It says, it shall be unlawful for any person to operate or maintain a sexually oriented business in the county unless the owner, operator, or lessee thereof has obtained a sexually oriented business license from the county. or to operate such business after such license has expired or has been revoked or suspended by the county or following the abandonment of the business. And I think that's one of those things, we get that stronghold, are we gonna really hand out sexually oriented business licenses in Karnes County? I mean, I like to believe that we have ministers, I mean, anybody in their right mind if you're fighting that. So if we jump ahead of that curve and you read this huge, huge book of violations, you'll see that it makes it extremely difficult to be able to come in here and get on top of our churches, our families, so that's where I'm at with that.
Well, you remember the movie that was made about someplace over here in East Texas?
Well, we're not, we don't wanna do that. And, I mean, but they are trying to come in here, and we need to get rules and regulations to be able to prohibit them from doing certain things, from being around certain things. And,
Judge, I had to call, past, got this, what I thought there about teaching, because people are actually looking at Karnes County.
and they're looking at us hard right now, and we need some way to, I mean, I get the calls. Judge Silva did not find me humorous when I told him I thought B County was a little bit bigger and better for business, and so, but they have the policy out, and I would like to have a policy in effect to be able to stop some of this stuff before it starts.
Okay.
Because we're gonna get hounded. I mean, the calls are coming in, people wanna be here for some reason.
I would like to make a motion to disapprove an order providing for licensing and regulation of sexually oriented businesses in unincorporated areas of Karnes County, Texas, providing penalties, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Now, second.
Wait. You said disapprove.
You want to approve?
Oh, okay, approve, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, I don't want this.
We don't want.
You're right,
We
right.
don't want them in there.
Right, but we have to approve the order.
However y'all write it, we don't want.
I had disapproved on them.
I was asking what you were gonna do. Are you-
I was like, I
you sold
don't
your
approve,
acreage and
I
you
don't
just
approve
want
of this.
to- Okay, so you're not approving of it.
Okay, I make a motion
Yeah, we don't want
to
them.
approve an order, approve an order providing for the licensing and regulation of sexually oriented business and work. Well, no, I think I had it right. didn't
No, discuss an order.
have to get the license if they're gonna do it.
We have to approve the licensing and regulation.
I? Okay, so
Providing for
You're
license.
approving the
if I don't want it, I have to approve it.
That's right. You have to
Okay,
approve it if
okay.
you don't want it.
I make a motion to approve an order providing for licensing and regulation of sexually oriented businesses in unincorporated areas of Karnes County, Texas, and providing penalties, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
And the effective date will be 2/29/12.
And so Barbara, now on another subsequent agenda, doesn't there need to be fees set up for these licensings and penalties, et cetera, so they're on record?
But you're not gonna have one.
Yeah,
A lot of the stuff will wanna, if you, let's go here, yeah.
we're not gonna approve
You're
it.
not gonna have one.
So anyway, I second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Now we're down to 3-0, no opposition, 2 missing. If I could get,
If they wanna go, they can go to San Antonio.
if I could get you guys to sign this and then hand it to Carol.
They got it to you?
All right.
That's what I heard.
Would you sign the last page and give it to Carol?
Drink certificate.
I'm not thinking it's the drinks that we're concerned about. Well, and like I said, we're just trying to be ahead of the curve, being progressive versus, oh God, what do we do? And the next item on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove entering into a commercial electricity supply agreement for a 12-month period, May 20, you know, Luan, I'll let you say.
ASBE has negotiated again with AEP for reduced rates for electricity. Currently, we are in a contract with them for 12 months, which ends in April of 2013. We have the option to enter into another agreement now, which would extend the period. We can either do it May of 2012 through April 2014 for a 12-month period at a fixed cap price of 0.05195 per kilowatt hour. or we can do a 36-month period from May 13 to April 16 at the fixed cap of .5495 per kilowatt hour. Currently, the contract we're under is 5.220 cents per kilowatt hour. I would recommend that we extend the 12-month contract at the fixed price cap of .05195 per kilowatt hour. Right, due to the price of natural gas.
Then I make a motion that we enter into a commercial electricity supply agreement for a 12-month period, May 2012 to April 2014, at a fixed price cap of 0.05195 a kilowatt hour through the TASB co-op with Direct Energy.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Motion carries 3-0.
For clarification, there was a typo on that time period. It was May 2013 through April 2014, not May 12.
May 2013
Correct. Through April 2014.
to April 2014. So that would, my motion would have been May 2013 to April 2014. I'm sorry, Carol. We're still there, though. Number 9 is to approve bond for Karnes County District Clerk Denise Rodriguez effective 3/2/12 to 12/31/12 in the office of Luana. We're just looking to approve the bond?
Correct.
Right. Okay. I make a motion that we approve the bond for Karnes County District Clerk Denise Rodriguez effective 3/2/12 to 12/31/12.
I second.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Motion carries 3-0. Number 11 is Dixie. It's presentation of officers and board members for the Karnes County Library System. Dixie moves.
This is a formality, presenting the officers and board members for the Karnes County Library System for year of 2012. From Kennedy, we have John Hayden, Brenda Eric, and Kathy Steger. From Karnes City, Jerry Vidas, Sandra Carter, and Lillian Lissy. From Runge, Lola Lissy, Curtis Plant, and Gloria Jansen. And from Falls City, Janie Moots, Marilyn Neschwitz, and Janet Jude. Do you all have a copy?
Can we have one? You got extras?
I have extras.
Oh, thank you.
You need one, Carol? And it also lists our meeting times and individual library directors' names.
Thank you, Dixie.
And the officers are Sandra Carter is president, Marilyn Neschwitz is vice president, Kathy Steger secretary, and Lola Lissy is the treasurer. And that's all I have about that.
Thank you, Dixie.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is John Banks still here? Because I know he's sitting here waiting.
Yeah, he's
on
here.
us. And you might, yeah. Can we skip around real quick so we can, let's go to number 25. But I see him walking back and forth. Hey, John, I'm sorry, but I kind of saw you walking back and forth out there earlier, so I figured you were wanting to leave.
No, I'm good whenever you want to put me on the agenda.
Now?
Okay.
Okay, so we need to do, the way that this was sent to me was a closed session item and then,
Open it back up for discussion and approval of certain resale properties.
okay. So do we need to make a motion to go into executive session?
Yes, what's the reason?
Evaluation of discussion of valuation of property, 551.072, the government code.
Okay, then I make a motion that we go into closed session to discuss the concerning evaluation of properties according to 551072 of the Texas Government Code. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Opposition, motion carries 3-0. Mr. Banks, where'd you
Back on the
go?
record.
So what we talked about in there was evaluation of properties, and what Mr. Banks was explaining to us is that some of the stuff is just so old, we can't find any of the back, it's been written off years and years ago, and he's doing his best that he can to collect and quote unquote give us free money, so we kind of like Mr. Banks right now.
Right now.
Right now, today.
Pretty much all the time.
So we're gonna move on to the open session action on the items. It's gonna say, consider take action on authorizing the legal tax attorneys to consummate sales on the following resale properties subject to execution of resale bid form provided by the bidder by the tax. A was, you want me to just go through and read Mr. Banks and then do yes or no?
However you want to handle it. And I can give the bid amounts, as you read them, I can give you the bid amounts and the highest
Okay.
bidder.
A was RC 1509, that's 4.33 acres in the J. Hernandez survey, AB 140.
And the bidder is Adrian Opiella, who is an adjoining landowner. This is surface estate only. His bid is $13,200. I believe he's already submitted the bid sheet, but if he doesn't, if it's approved, I'm going to make sure he completes the bid sheet and sends in the full amount before I tender a deed to you to sign and give to him.
Do we need to make a motion on each one of those just for clarification?
I think if you go through and just, if you identify whether it's approved or not, well, probably be safest just to do a motion on each whenever we get through, going through the items.
You can do it in blank, couldn't you, John?
Yeah.
Saying all these are marked.
Okay.
As long as you can identify it so it can be distinguished.
Okay, then B is RC 5465, Lot 3, that's 11 and 12 at Block 210.
That is a property that Harold Joe Bishop III has submitted a bid of $3,035. That is the equal to the 2011 appraised value for that property.
C is R12016, Lot 10, Block 204, that's 3/4 undivided interest.
Are we approving these as we go along?
No, he said we're gonna do it at the
We'll
end.
come back.
I just want to identify the bidders and the
I'm sorry.
bid amounts.
On these?
We're selling an undivided interest, John?
We're selling two undivided interests that together, the aggregate is the whole. The 3/4 undivided interest and a 1/4 undivided interest, so he's purchasing the entire property.
Okay, so did I only read one of those, and the other is RC 3398, Lot 10, Block 204, and that's 1/4 undivided interest?
In Lot 10, Block 204. And the bidder is Cletus Bianchi, and the bid amount is $1,500. The total amount of taxes owing is the $124.13 plus $69, so $193. So about 8 times more than the taxes owed.
Okay, D is R1197-971, Lot 3, Block 26, 3/4 undivided interest, and RC 3376, Lot 3, Block 26, 1/4 undivided interest.
The high bidder was Grace Friesenhan Solis. She bid $220 for, again, it's two account numbers. One represents the 3/4 undivided interest, one represents a 1/4 undivided interest. This bid amount equals, actually the 2011 appraised values for both of these interest is $210, and she has bid $220.
E is RC 39067, Lot 9, Block 75.
Bidder is Matthew and Angelita Taylor. The bid amount, $630, equals the 2011 appraised value for that property, for Lot 9, Block 75.
F is RC 5396, part of Lot 8, Block 26.
Your Honor, I'd ask that that one be removed from consideration because the bidder contacted me yesterday and said that he wished to withdraw his bid.
Which one is that?
It's
F.
RC 5396 F.
G is R 11989, lots 5 and 7, block 103, 3/4 undivided interest, and RC 3385, lots 5 and 7, block 103, 1/4 undivided interest.
That, the total appraised value for both of those lots is $732. This is a lot, a vacant lot that adjoins property that is currently owned by the bidder, William Massey, and he has submitted a bid for $750. It slightly exceeds the appraised value for those properties. All of these properties, the bid forms that are presented to the bidders, is all of the bidders understand that these are surface estates only that they are acquiring.
Can I make a motion that we approve A, B, C, D, E, and G, and disapprove F, which is the one that the bidder withdrew? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
And Judge, just for clarification for the record, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be contacting each of the successful bidders. I'll be making sure that if they haven't previously submitted the bid for purchase of property form, that is completed, that the full purchase amount is provided to me. When that is done, I'll present them to the deeds to the judge for signature, and I'll make sure that monies are paid to the tax office for the amounts that are owed. Any excess proceeds will disperse as basically a windfall for the general fund for the respective taxing entities. And last thing, just for clarification purposes, all of these properties are held in trust. So the taxing entity will receive its pro rata share that it's entitled to under the judgment.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you for
Banks.
your time,
Thank you.
Judge,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Do they get some mineral rights on that?
They do not.
Okay.
Number 12, that's where we are, right? If we look in order, we can like, that's where we're at. Is discuss, approve, disapprove on sheriff department calculation of comp time, straight time over 80 hours, and that's fine.
Going to hand you two things. One is the county policy on payrolls and timesheets. It also involves comp time, record keeping, who's responsible for keeping records, and then an email from Mary Ann Sines from TAC on the regulations. What we currently follow is the 160 to 170 rule and 28-hour working period. Basically, what happens with law enforcement, you do not get comp time until you work 85.5 hours in a 2-week period. After that, you're given time and a half. If you work 83 hours for the county under the sheriff's department, dispatcher, or jailer, or deputy, you basically, those 3 hours are freebie hours. You don't get any straight time or comp time for them. So I talked with Mary Ann. She said she could come and talk to us if we wanted her to, but she was booked until the end of March. Basically, it's up to the county's discretion what they do with those 80 to 85.5 hours. If we give them straight time for it, or if we do nothing with them. And right now, we are doing nothing with them.
So they have to work, they're gonna work that 5 or 5.5 hours for free until they get.
Right, they're not credited on their comp time with that, correct?
That doesn't make sense. I mean, other departments aren't like that.
Well, and it's just a law, because basically they can't work 8 to 5 and say, oh, I don't care if it's a crime scene, it's 5 o'clock, I gotta go home. You know, they can't control their comp time as well as we can. So there's the law in there, gives them the regulations for law enforcement. Gives the counties that little leeway where they don't have to give them overtime or comp time until the 85.5 hours.
But I mean, if they're at a call during the scene of an
Right,
accident.
they can't
whatever,
leave.
They can't control their overtime or their comp time.
Right, and that's why this
Well, I
law is,
thought that the officers were getting paid so much per year, like 32.
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
What does this have to do with any time? Hey, you're on duty all the time.
So
Are you
you're
still-
saying
but you-
salary, not hourly?
I get paid by commitment, I'm on duty all the time. Whether
But-
they call me or not.
but they still have a timesheet to turn in every 2 weeks and you don't. So for all I know, you're going home and drinking a beer 24/7 and doing nothing when they're
Well, I
on.
might be.
You might be, and you're still getting paid for it, and they have a timesheet that they have to turn in every 2 weeks. And if it's over 80 hours, or 82 hours, or 83 hours, there's nothing toward them. If I worked 82 or 83 hours, or Julie did, she gets time and a half. They don't get anything till 85.5 hours, because that's what the state regulation says that we're allowed to do.
That's the regulations.
I'm sorry,
That's federal.
that's federal regulations.
So they're classified as salary, correct?
No.
Is that what the FLSA is? Are they it would have to be. Are they classifying?
We're all
as salary?
salaried.
Except for part-timers, but the FLSA, Fair Labor
Right.
Standards Act specifies specific things for law enforcement.
Right, and that's what we
160 to
follow.
170 is what their salary entails. If they work more than 80 hours before 85 and a half, technically those are donated or freebie hours to the county, because their timesheets are based on 160 to 170 before comp is approved.
Based on your.
We don't pay comp, we pay them at time and a half. After officers are at 85 and a half, we book time and a half hour, each hour per time and a half after 85 and a half hours for law enforcement, because they are unique characters. I was gonna say strange, but that didn't sound real well.
Not very politically correct there, but.
No, but I can guarantee you, those strange critters, I like them when I'm in trouble.
But
What have been things that happened in the past?
in the past, we have based it on the Fair Labor Standards
That's what I
Act,
thought.
the 85 and a half hours. Again, if this was to be considered by court, it should be presented by the sheriff as an amendment to his policy, because he also has a policy that is supposed to be in place that supersedes the county's policy because law enforcement are unique characters.
And our policy manual states that we follow the Fair Standard Labor Act.
So let me get this clear. If you work for the sheriff's department as a deputy, you're gonna have to work 100 and.
Well, if we
I mean,
get paid
you're gonna
at-
have to work 85.5 hours before you get comp time.
Every 2 weeks.
Accrued comp time.
Or your crew
yes.
comp time, for every 2 weeks.
and a half.
So that 5.5, you're not gonna get paid for.
Well, we don't pay until
I
we
mean,
leave.
well, not get paid, but
Right.
you're not gonna get any comp.
You're not getting any credit for it, you're not getting an hour per
But they
hour.
can take it up. They
on
can,
it.
they can.
This has been around since 1992.
They can take it off since 1992.
Mr. Pierce, would you like to say something?
I sure would.
Come on forward, read.
They can use that time though.
That
can't they,
5
Sheriff?
hours, the
No.
deputies, they don't even get, they're not asking for time, and I'm the one that brought it up by, because I had several different answers, I couldn't get the right answer. We're saying, if you work 85 hours, they're not asking for time and a half, give them the 5 hours that they earn for comp time. That's all we're saying. We work the hours, and you're not giving nobody nothing.
Again, like.
Like,
I
if you
said,
work 6.5 hours, you get credit for 1.5 hours, because it doesn't go into effect till you're over 85.5 hours.
If it's comp time, you can take that also as vacation time or something, can you?
Well, that's
Well,
another
sure, but we don't
problem.
get it, is what we're talking about. The first 5 hours is for free.
All right. No big deal.
But again, as David said, this has been in effect since 1992.
At 20 years.
And we have a problem with the accumulated comp time anyway, because of, we used to have a shortage of deputies, now we have a full staff plus additionals from what the original budget was. And we've got to get scheduling issues handled because the budget is killed every year when David has someone leave and we have to pay him out comp, vacation, and holiday.
But can't you cap
The
it?
one, I agree
We
with
can cap
you,
it.
I
but
mean,
But
that-
it's-
you have to have a policy to cap it.
with
But it's
the-
not capped right now, is what you're saying?
They have a rule, but because they've always been short-staffed, they have never been able to schedule off.
It's
I don't
like
even know
90
what
days
the-
after you accrue that comp time.
I don't
you're
remember
supposed
what
to
the
take it.
number of hours is that the level is capped at, but there is something in the policy for that specific to law enforcement as well as general employees.
So you can cap you can say if they don't use the time by a certain date, they lose a certain amount, or if they leave, you're only gonna pay them up to this much comp
No,
time.
whatever they earn, they get paid.
No, but I'm saying,
Whatever's on
can
the
you make a
books.
policy that
You
says
could
you
make a
cap it?
policy, yes.
That's what I was asking.
Yes, but again,
Carol, I missed your whole question.
But how can you set a policy if it's beyond their control what they have to work? I've seen timesheets where these gentlemen have worked 11 hours straight because there's been accidents or there's been something going on. They can't just cut off their comp time because, the county's not gonna pay me this extra hour, so I'm gonna go out here and I'm just gonna leave my job. You can't do that. They can't
control their
Like I said.
You can't control comp time in law enforcement.
But also on that deal, when you can control when the deputy can work. If he works them 11 hours straight through, or like I had one other day, work 20-some hours on a sexual assault case, work 20-some hours, you can let them take off the next day. You can
And
control
If you
that.
have,
That's
if it's,
administrative.
right.
Yeah, if I have people
If
to
you have
cover
people
with,
to cover it,
which
if you
right now,
don't.
I do. Right now, I'm full staff again, but here we go. This has been tested by fire already in 2005. I had a man that was here, and he was trying to go back and do the 8.5 or whatever, 5.5 hours, 11. Mary Ann Symes was also on this, because when he left me, he wanted to be paid for them 11 hours. So in 2005, I believe it's May, and we was all on the third floor, me, LaWanna, Judge Kendall, Mary Ann Symes, and who else? There was one other lady that was there.
I think Nancy was there. the
Nancy.
treasurer.
Was it?
No, it was, no, not, it was Nancy Duckett, but we was there, this was they said, no, you do not get paid for the 11 hours. So Ainsworth got his money, claiming that he, his comp time, he got it paid for that, and he took them 11 hours, he's trying to go back to the 160. It says FSLA, that's why I remember 1992, I remember all of this.
Right.
For that simple reason, 'cause I've been tested already on this, because they're gonna take me to federal court. And that's
But-
where we was at, we nipped it in the bud there, and this is something that came up again 7 years later, and we've been doing this for 7 years. and it's brought up, which is, I mean, I'm all for taking care of my people. I'm glad it's got here.
God bless you.
I'm sorry.
Bless you.
I'm glad it got here because if we do need to make a policy, which is fantastic, I know we've been running off this one for 7 years, and they've been running off of this one since 1992,
20 years, Sheriff,
20 years.
2020.
Okay, but I know, when I took over, it's been 7 years. So we've been running on this forever, and I talked to 4 guys yesterday on the phone, and I asked them when we paid them out. I said, was you happy with your payout? Did you see anything that you wished to come back on me about? And all of them said, you was fair, we worked under FSLA laws, and we're there.
Right, and that's how we pay them. We pay them under the FSLA, and that's
Yeah,
how. The county policy says the county shall retain the right to schedule time off for the employee at the end of each quarter. Time to be taken within 30 days and within 60 days for the sheriff's office, providing the office does not suffer undue hardship and is handled in accordance with the requirements of FSLA.
Undue
And that's
hardship.
for unused comp time.
That's a hardship, and I've been under a hardship ever since I've been here.
Well,
We're taking care of that now.
I appreciate it.
It looks to me like the policy as it stands just encourages a deputy to pad or fudge on his hours to get those 5 hours.
No,
No?
no.
No, I mean, I've got credible, reliable people. No, they ain't gonna fudge that. I mean, the comp time is no big deal. Because, I mean, and you look at it, Carl, these deputies are unique. I got one right here that works 4 days a week. I've got another one that works 15 days a month. I got another one every other month that I think works 15 or 16 days, right? So it's kind of hard to get there unless you get into an accident situation or, some kind of where I have to pull people out to do things. I have to call them in because they're off duty to come in and help me in a serious situation, which I never, unless it is a bad situation like the standoff in Rungy that on Christmas Day a year and a half ago. That was a bad situation where I pulled in, all my people and 40 some odd or 50 some odd other agencies people. So that's a bad situation. That's a comp thing there. So this is what I'm saying. These people here, they're very well, here we go again, compensated because they are unique, just like firefighters. This is the same thing that firefighters
And
use.
same that we're all.
So this, like I said, it's been around since 1992.
I-
If there's something there, Carl, I mean, like I said, I've been working off FSLA, and like I said, I've been tested by fire already, because they're trying to take me to federal court in 2005, unbeknownst to
Well,
me.
I don't think it came up till Jim he went out and he asked Vi about it, and he came in and asked me about it, because he was saying what the state had done.
Well,
And I mean, the state doesn't necessarily always follow, all the federal laws or whatever, so he was looking for, I think Jim would talk to everybody.
We just wanted the 5 hours. If we worked 85 hours, we got comp for the 5 hours that we worked. We didn't ask for pay. Time and a half, we didn't want 0. Well, you should get paid.
Well, I just don't know of any business or anybody that gives their employer 5.5 hours.
But
But
when
the
you
law
choose
tells
law
me.
enforcement, you have special
I
rules.
understand
And we
that,
are
but-
abiding by the federal laws.
Let me just run something by you. If a deputy works 42 hours, at the end of his shift, he gets shot and killed, do we have to pay him the $40,000 in insurance money? Because technically he wasn't on duty because he wasn't getting paid. If you're not getting paid, then
Luana, can I ask you a question? You said that this is different just for county. because
No, I
state-
didn't say it's for county, I said for
Well, the
law
state- I'm just
enforcement.
speaking for state, and I gotta use that, then I'll ask her, but she knows about this. They give you comp time up to 171 hours, then it's time and a half. But if you work 85 hours, you get 5 hours comp time. Here, you get nothing.
It's up to the county's discretion
If the
what they want
county
to do.
wants to
Department by department.
supersede, but they
Right.
have to go by the minimums required by the
Right.
federal government, which we do.
So we're at minimum right now.
We do.
minimum.
Yeah, we're at the
If
minimum
the
at 85 and a
county
half.
elects to go to pay hour for hour from 80 to 85 and a half, they can do that if the head, the sheriff in this case,
Wish to write a policy on that.
writes the policy and presents it to the court for acknowledgement. But it has to be through policy, not through the court, because the law enforcement has a separate policy
We
from the
can include it
county.
on the county
Well,
policy.
to
But
me,
it
it
has to
just
be
doesn't,
included in it.
it does not pass a smell test. If a guy's having to work 5.5 hours a week for free, he's gonna sit at the coffee shop, or he's gonna go park under a tree, he's gonna do something.
No, he's not.
No, it's not.
All he has to work, Carl, is 80 hours, just like
Yeah.
the rest of us.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, hello.
He's
Well,
thinking
but I
to get
mean,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
But all he's
if
required
he's
to
on a
work is
traffic
80.
call and he says, well, man, it's, he can't leave.
Yeah,
He
But
has-
that's
right, right.
specific They all know that because that's specific to the federal laws for law enforcement. Each entity can adopt something different if the sheriff
That's why-
or the chief of police or the
So
director
the
of
sheriff doesn't
DPS
wanna
or
adopt,
whatever.
I mean,
takes
I'm
it.
game for anything. Like I said, I thought this man here was go with this lady here, and we can kind of work something out. I didn't know we was gonna bring it out here until I looked at the deal Monday when I was looking for, at the jail committee. I didn't know this was on the agenda.
It doesn't
Sorry.
sound like it's fair to me.
I didn't seem like it's fair to me, because this is a policy
I got
issue.
several different answers, and I wanted to go to human resources, because I even went to the county judge. I said, these deputies tell me this, and I've seen it myself. Well, I might work 83 hours, well, I'm gonna claim 80, don't claim the 83, because I'm not gonna get credit for it anyway.
Can I ask you, Sheriff, how do these deputies
That's
keep
actually
their hours?
classification
Do
of
they-
Well, that's the way it is, Judge.
No,
Do
that's
they
not
punch
the
a
way it is.
clock,
You
or
need-
they-
You still need to tell us what you're working. I mean, if you're gonna sit there and say that, Jim, and I have people turning in 80 hours, why would they want pay if that's all they're working is 80 hours? We need to know the truth. See, the truth will set you free.
It's not gonna get, it already is, because I sent in 83, 84 hours, and it got crossed out, because I thought it was gonna be coming, I said, no,
Well, I mean, I don't
put
think she
down
crossed it
83,
out, I don't think she
84.
changed it to 80, did she?
Well, if it's crossed out, we don't
It might
get
have
it.
been
So
crossed
that's-
out, but you still
that's-
showed it, so we know
That's
that.
right.
You're leaving a paper trail that you're working that over time.
Plus,
We
if
need
you
to
look
know
at the
that.
top of your timesheets on the
I
top
wanted to give it to you,
signs,
Jim,
it
that's not my
says
issue, but I don't wanna see
85 and a
us
half
have to
hours
promote
for law
falsification or
enforcement.
documentation.
That's doing more than what you are.
Well, I mean, but I'm willing to give people
Y'all
what they
can do
were.
what you want to, I'm just telling you it's not right.
So
I
Jim,
should-
who all did you talk about? Did you go to David first?
Yes, because he's been here 20 years, and he said he's never got.
No,
Jalefka.
Jalefka,
Oh, yes,
the
that's
sheriff,
right, yes.
the Marine.
And I told you the same thing.
Who's David? Who's the other
David
guy?
Marine.
David Marine.
He's the
See,
senior.
Oh, Sergeant Marine. Well,
Full-
why don't call him David?
In 2000, here we go back again, we test the fire, 2005, after we got through with Angel, Dave Marine quit me. We went through the same thing. Simple, I mean, so we was testing, here we go, Mary Ann signs, TAC, we went through the same thing again. I mean, they didn't learn from Ainsworth, now we had to go through this deal, and Dave Marine got paid out on comp time, which he had a slew of comp time, which is, he was a working deputy. And just like Ainsworth was a working deputy, everybody worked, so I mean, we never had no overtime. And we can nip a lot of this in the bud, if y'all wish to get away from this comp time and pay the people overtime.
There's no way to
Nobody's
prove
asked for
that.
that.
So,
What I'm saying, I got 3 different answers. That's why I came to you and Vi.
Right. But
Very simple.
but
If y'all
what
don't
I'm
wanna do
saying-
it, tell me now, and I won't bring it up again.
That's not what I'm saying, Jim. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what was said. What was said is we need to figure out how. I mean, going to everybody and collecting a different answer, that's not gonna help. We
That's
all need
why
to be
we're
on the
here.
same page, Jim.
That's why we're here right now
But
before
the
you.
sheriff should have, I agree that you should have got together with him and y'all should have.
I talked to the sheriff.
but we was
Twice.
looking at the policy, we're trying to get to the policy, and then there was that deal, 171 hours. That was the policy, and we've always gone under this policy.
And if you
No,
want to
because-
amend your policy, you can.
I can amend it.
You don't have to raise your hand. You're a commissioner. You're free.
Sheriff, I just want to ask the sheriff, how do these deputies keep track of their hours? They have little time.
They have time sheets like everybody else
And
does.
just like,
And they
this
keep
right
their
here.
own hours, right?
No, they have schedules.
Go ahead, Steve.
They have schedules.
See, this here, Jimmy worked 90 hours. And on this 90-hour sheet, all right, this is what I'm trying to get at. This is the 90 hours. He put in 90 hours that week, 2/12/12 to 2/25/12. I'm using you, Jimmy, because this is where we're at.
That's the per pay period.
All right. Over here, we have a deal which has been like this forever. Over here, it shows 90 hours, so he's gonna get anything over 5.5 hours, because this is 2-week period. We work on 48, 14, and 28 days. That's what we're working. We're working on 14 days, you gotta work 85 and a half hours. So on this one, it shows 90 hours, it shows him getting 5 hours, making it 7.5 hours comp time, right?
But really, it would have.
For working 10 hours over,
Working 10 hours
getting only
over.
7.5 hours.
But here was a mistake, which I just caught when I was looking at it a while ago. He should have got 4.5 hours.
Well, my point being, they're not.
That's what my point is. I mean, he just lost an hour of
No,
time.
we add it and then Luana double adds it, so
Okay.
we catch it.
Good, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
It
This
goes
is what
from
I'm working.
cell
Well, and
to,
if, David, show Carl at the top there on the right where it says law enforcement is at 85 and a half.
Right here, comp rate is earned at a rate of 1.5 hours for each hour worked over a minimum of 85.5.
because that Fair Standard Labor Act tells us that's how we.
That's isn't that the minimum guideline to
That's
follow,
the
but
minimum
each
guideline.
And
department?
I'm gonna tell you,
Okay.
it's fair to give the 5 hours
I
comp time.
agree.
It is.
Whether
I
Bill
think-
Vance disagrees or not, you know, that's just.
Just hour,
And if
you're
they
just
work-
asking for hour for the first 5 and a half,
We're
not time
asking
and a half.
money.
Well, I think the sheriff is trying to hire 6 new deputies, right? Well, if you show them, okay, now, let me tell you something. You're gonna have to work 5.5 hours for free before you.
But they already know that in law
They
enforcement,
know
but
that, Carl.
as a.
I mean, it's like that
as a-
everywhere.
But
incentive.
I'm glad this is brought up, because like I said, it's kind of.
Every county, 250.
And I want to tell y'all,
That's not
Yes.
right either.
If-
That 5 hours, that's not right, because, let's ask Carol, if Russell works 9 hours, what does he get
He
after 8 hours?
gets 8 hours straight pay, an hour would be considered comp, so he'd get an hour and a half of
Time and a half after that?
Right.
No, not every law enforcement,
Right, it's-
this county right here. The highway patrol, if you work those 5 hours, you get 5 hours comp time.
But there's
Not
also a
until you
cap.
go over
And we
one.
get a
I
dog.
think the point that you're trying to bring out, or the point that the sheriff is trying to bring out, is we don't have to be minimum.
Right.
You don't have to
We
be.
need to be fair. We
We
don't
need to
have
be
to.
fair.
We
We don't
need
have
to
to be
be
minimum,
fair.
but what we're talking about now is we followed minimum standards for the last
Right.
20 years. The last 20 years, we followed minimum
Right.
standards. So 20 years later, they're asking us to
I'm
come
not
to the
gonna argue with that,
1990s. So, I'm okay,
I'm great with it too.
well,
Okay,
and it would make
but-
your life easier.
It'll make my
He
life.
has to write the policy and bring it for acknowledgement. The court doesn't have action over that.
Why can't we
It's a
just add
sheriff's
it
policy.
into our policy that already includes comp time for sheriff's department?
What number are we on? Where'd we go? Because I already
Well,
clicked by it.
well.
Thank you.
Look on page 402 of the policy manual, pay periods and timesheets.
But your agenda item doesn't say anything about amending policies.
Well, I'm trying to make a point that we can add it to our policy.
But then you gotta bring it up.
I will, Bob, I
That
will,
means
I know
time
that.
off. If you want to take it, you can take it when there's a time limit, you take it. We're not asking for nothing free, we're asking what we've done.
Okay.
Item 2, can I talk, please? On application number 2, compensation for law enforcement employees shall be handled in accordance with the policies established in the sheriff's department with the approval of the commissioner's court. So he can add it to his policy, or we can put it into our policy on comp time. I don't care which way it goes.
It's gotta be his policy.
Okay, then I need a copy of that policy in my office too, once that's done. And Mary Ann will gladly come down and help with us. There was something too, she also said
What number, Vi?
Oh.
What are you on?
on the Karnes County policy on pay periods and timesheets.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on Mary Ann's.
I'm not on a purple couple, sorry. It's our policy. I handed it to you earlier.
Okay.
It's page 4.02, page
Okay.
1 of 1,
Uh-huh,
under application,
uh-huh.
policy on comp time, number 2. So we just need a copy of his policy in my office, so we know that that's what he's agreed to do with them.
Now, if I may speak from a money standpoint, David, you've got to administer this comp time. It kills your budget every year. We talk about it every year. When somebody leaves and we have to pay them out, you almost lose a full deputy's salary.
Right.
So we've got to
We've been
keep
doing this
this
forever.
comp time, well, I know, but now you've got added staff, so now there's no reason why we can't use
You
it.
don't take it within a year and use it.
That would have to be a policy amendment also.
Well, I'm
I'm
just
not
saying,
saying I like county
and I refer to
government
the state,
always,
because that's where I
but
come
you
from,
have
the
to
state.
amend it.
Right.
And I'm saying, like it said, that way, what Luana says, the budget's not being killed,
You have to amend the policy to say so, we can't just say it.
Well, that's what I'm
Well, the
saying.
policy tells you that you're supposed to take 60 days off within the sheriff's department if it does not suffer undue hardship.
And we've been under hardship ever since I've been here short.
And also, on page 4.04, Barbara, on the normal work hours, except the sheriff's department says 24/7, Mary Ann said we need to tweak that a little bit too. So we may need to get her to come back down and talk to David and I, and anyone else, and kind of work on the sheriff's department policy to make sure.
If they're at an accident.
And can I put on this as of which day forward?
You know what, things that you're on policy, you can put anything you want on there and bring it
Well, as
back.
soon as the policy is adopted, then you can do it. As soon as the change in the policy is adopted,
And
then you can do it.
since I've worked with Mary Ann, I know LaWanda's worked with Mary Ann, I know Bob has worked with Mary, we've all worked with Mary Ann. I'd like for her to maybe use her expertise in writing this, so we want to come back and do this again.
Yeah, she'll help.
So,
Signs,
now,
back.
now you're gonna ask, Jim's staring there, staring at me, he's gonna ask, what day would it be effective? Is that what you're asking?
No,
Could it
I'm
be?
sure not. Whenever
Could it
the
become
policy,
effective?
no, you don't want to do that retro stuff,
No.
because you're gonna get in a lot of trouble in budget and things. case somebody wanted to come
Well,
back.
you know what I'd really
But
have to
start
answer?
March 1st or whatever, you know?
We have to go back and redo all that in my
Why,
department,
why don't
no.
we see if it was straight for straight? We're not
That's-
talking time, I mean, like,
that's
if you
what
work
we're asking.
85 hours, you're asking for 5
For,
hours.
for the 5 hours,
5
that's
hours.
all we're
You're
asking
agreeable
for.
to that. I mean,
Straight
you're the one that
time.
writes the policy,
Oh,
so
we
you're
have the
agreeable
policy.
to that.
5 hours straight time.
And so you're asking if you bring that policy before us, are we gonna be nice and be agreeable to that? So I think that's what we're,
You
you
can't
know.
agree to that, Judge, it takes all 5 of you.
No, that's not what I'm saying, sir. I'm just saying that he's asking first. I mean, he's being.
I'm trying to put the horse before the cart.
I'm
Okay,
just
we
trying
got
to
you.
cool fires.
You get your policy, bring your policy back. I mean, I don't think any of us were fighting you on time for time. Were you, is that what we were saying? Time for time. We're not saying time and a half. We're not saying paying overtime.
Right.
You know, kind of like that sexually oriented policy thing at all. I was scared for a second. So,
And two, if he says, well, you know, if you work 85.5 hours and I'm trying to hire this new deputy, we're actually gonna give you 5 hours. You're not gonna be giving me 3 hours. You're gonna actually get, that might entice some other deputies to come here. You're earned those
You're earning
hours.
those hours, not giving them.
Yeah.
Policy should-
Okay, so this is gonna be a no action until we rewrite his policy to include this, and we'll get Mary Ann
and then
in there and
you'll
we'll
do the
bring it
county
back.
part. Do the county part at the same time, so we can do one, then the other.
Well, if we're gonna go by his policy, then I don't need to change my policy. I'm looking at
I
you,
don't think
right?
your policy applies.
You
Well-
just need to take out that part for the sheriff's department
Right.
in the county policy, because we go by the sheriff's policy.
Okay,
That's
so
what he's
really,
saying I'm doing.
no action on number 12, and the sheriff
The
is
other
gonna
thing too,
bring
you
us
need
up.
to put something in there so to protect the budget, that they have a certain amount, a fair amount of time to take their comp time.
Well, it
so
does
you
say
don't
that
have to-
already.
Or
I know it does,
a
but we
cap
need to-
on the hours that they can carry.
Okay,
Reasons like
so
Jim
you'll
said.
write that, Sheriff, and you come back, right?
Okay.
You call Mary Ann.
You want
Some
to-
compensation.
When
Sheriff's
you get
Department.
Time for
policy.
time.
Can I confer with the sheriff?
Then at the end of
No, I
the
didn't
year,
know that.
Go
at the end
ahead.
of the year, they lose it and we start over again.
That's what.
Or they lose it to a certain amount, I think, yeah.
We'll give them a year from the date earned.
That way, in case some catastrophe comes up, you know,
A
the
year
sheriff
from the
can
date
can say,
earned.
all right, give, because we
You
were
can
tied up
carry it,
here.
yeah, from January to
We'll let you
January,
take
February
it
to
this month or
February.
something, because we were
Give
tied
them
up.
a 3-month window.
Catastrophe, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Okay, why don't we get all that stuff in there and then we get out? Okay. Are we all on the same page?
Yes.
Okay, number 20.
Thank you.
Discuss,
Thank you,
Hey,
Commissioner.
Sarah,
okay,
I'll put it on their next budget, next.
You want on the next agenda?
no, not you, Mike.
Oh.
Well, I have
no.
it.
We're-
Well, the
we're number
reason is
20.
I don't have that information here, but it's just 10 days till the next. Well, I have it, but
Didn't I bring you the,
it's not in the packet either.
no, I thought I folded yours in there.
No, there's, I have 2.
Oh, you have 2, that's not the right one, okay. All right,
I did not, it's not in the packet.
you put
The
this
second
back,
one is.
Bob, back on agenda. Number 20, no action, Carol.
He said we got too many things today. We gotta go over. Thank you.
Okay. Number 21,
21, I have that in, this is a piece of land,
it's in your package.
it's in your package, it's a surface only, so there's no members, anything like that. This was given to the county with the county's permission by Mr. and Mrs. O'Leary. And that's been here for, the deed was drawn September the 26th, 1983, so it's been here that long. And it's not taxed, this is land given to the county. And we have a request for, somebody wants to buy it. But in order to sell it to these persons, we have to put it out, we have to bid it out.
Okay. So I make the motion, we advertise the bid, the tract of land conveyed to the county by Frank Lennick and wife Dorothy as recorded volume 538, page 966 of official records of Karnes County, author Bob Busselman. Are we gonna let Luana advertise?
No,
Are we
because
asking?
Luana doesn't have all the information.
I second.
Are you gonna advertise, Bob? Who's
Nah,
gonna
go ahead,
advertise?
man, I got it, man.
I'll get you the information.
All in favor, say
Will you,
Yes.
wait, Luana, will you advertise with information?
If I get the information.
He has to
Okay,
give it
and
proper-
allow Luana to advertise after she receives the information.
Just
We
see if
second
you if I give it to you.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Who got the second on that?
I put Carl down. I heard you first, Tracy.
Good.
Gotta hear ya.
I was gonna give it to him.
Put it to Carl.
Okay,
We will get it.
number,
I'll give it.
number 23 is discuss, approve, disapprove amendment P 00004, the ICE agreement, which adds language for government-owned vehicles, and the author is Diane Kaplan. This is a thing that they're sending all their GO people, and it always says, as we discuss and you approve, and then it says, if you approve, will you please sign it on top? Because we always tell them it has to go through court. All it is they're asking, they're incorporating, wait, I don't have the vehicle one. It's this one, it's a little thicker. It's a contract asking about the government-owned vehicles, and it's just transportation rules and articles and on and on and on. And it's the same one that all the other GEO locations have signed. So, that's all it is. It's language for the use of listed, use of government-owned vehicles with GEO. We have to agree to it, or disagree, whatever you want to do. Do you want to let GEO use the government-owned vehicles or not? Is that a motion? GEO's contracts were this thick.
What
every
would they
time-
be using, what government's vehicles, ours?
The ICE. When they're
So
bringing in
that's to
federal government.
transport them in and out.
Because that's a federal unit, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what, see, all that goes through us, all of GEO's contracts go through the county. And so we have to approve everything that they approve,
Well,
whether we
that's
want.
because we have the contract with ICE, not GEO.
Why wouldn't we?
Because we have the right to keep it in custody.
So why wouldn't we, that's my question too, Carl, but I don't want to make a motion on everything I'm signing myself. So I'm just going to let you and Tracy battle it out.
I make a motion to approve amendment P 00004 to the ICE agreement, which adds language for government-owned vehicles.
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0, no opposition. Number 24 is another GEO issue. And this one says, discuss approve, disapprove installing the following amendments on behalf of the county. P 00002, incorporating contract-specific wage determined 2011-0191 revision to be effective 11/22/11. And P 0003 is incorporating the county's request for equitable adjustment resulting from the incorporation of contract-specific wage determination, as well as adding rates for escort and guard services and overtime for each when they were previously included as $0 in the contract. Kind of sounds like a sheriff's. Additionally, the county will agree for the next 90 days through May 20th, 2012, the county will further grant authority for Amber Martin to sign on behalf of Karnes County. And this says through May 2012. I actually think that we had it till, we have it through March something. And this new guy that they have in there, he likes to do the every 90 day, 30 days out versus waiting for the exact contract date. And that's all they're doing. This is the exact same one we signed last time.
Make the motion to approve. I make the motion to approve signing the following.
I second the motion.
All right.
No, I don't. Yeah, I do. I don't want to keep seconding my own, but I second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0, no opposition.
On your on number 26, let me just make a comment. In order, the county has the right to pass ordinances controlling traffic outside the city limits. But each penal ordinance, one that you break it, you pay a fine, that's a penal ordinance. We have to advertise it. So my suggestion, we're working on one now for the parking lot out here, the parking of the park out here on Park City. And we talked about running, you and I could get together and figure out if there's anything else we want to do. We do this all at one time. Because it's going to have to be on every penal ordinance, we got to advertise it.
But wait a second, before we do that. Okay, you're saying for number 26, that's if we put out a sign. Let's read the agenda item first, so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Okay.
Let's go there. Discuss, approve, disapprove installing children at play 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs and placing some sort of speed deterrent devices on County Road 340 to ensure the safety of my children. And that's authors Carl Hummel and Janet Garza. And
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea too, but I can tell you, since we put that agenda item out, I had like 500 people that want that exact same sign on their county roads.
Well, you know, I've been, and I don't need to mention what county road, but I
It's
was
340.
headed north and these vehicles coming south, they were doing no less than 60 miles an hour. And at that time, there was so much dust, I had to pull over because I couldn't see where I was going.
Well, when I was talking to Jeff yesterday, there was
And I mean,
cars
this
stopped
is
doing 60
ridiculous.
on a
I
county
mean,
road,
It'd be a
so.
lot simpler if you could do it all at one time. I think it'll save us some advertising costs too. You could just do it once instead of.
I agree, as long as we do something,
It needs
because
to be done.
I agree.
It needs to be done. But number one is, if we put up all of these signs,
Who's gonna enforce it?
We gotta have somebody out
But
there.
let me ask you this
Get some
too.
tickets, 'cause if
Let me
not-
tell you what they're doing.
That's what we had in Morgan City.
Let me tell you what they're doing in Gonzales County also. Well, what about the constables? There's, I mean, the
Exactly.
constables
They
cannot,
need to be doing something too.
I mean, they're on county roads.
The
They have
constables,
precincts.
we have one constable that is doing patrol work, is he
Yes.
not? And I don't know why, yeah, you asked that just a few minutes ago, and I have no idea as to why they couldn't do that, because they're licensed peace officers. Now, I know they have special duties to do the work for the JP that they work for, basically, but they don't have that much. I mean, they, serve
We just gave them
papers.
500 travel.
I know, but what I'm getting at is, there's no reason why, I don't think you can make them do it, but I think that you can certainly ask them to do
But
it.
they're elected officials just like we are.
Exactly.
I mean, in the other counties, when we've been talking about some of these same things, the constables are out writing tickets.
Well, so we have one here that does that too, or he was, I guess he does, huh?
I mean, 'cause we can't be on every county road. I see the concern because I live on a county road myself on that one side, and people think that that is part of the NASCAR thing. They start turning right there.
Let me ask the sheriff a question. The state puts out these little digital signs and it says your speed, you know, and they're trying to get you to slow down and it'll say, you know, 50, 45. And as you slow down, it records your speed, I guess. But are there any of those kind of things that has actual video on them too?
No.
No, it's
It's
just.
just a warning device out here, like in school zones, or like, I know, only one I've ever seen or been around, the one that we both had, because every once in a while they get some kind of fast moving traffic through something. I hadn't seen them in a long time, just like in front of Maggie's place, 505. I used to see it down there where the old Gulf station used to be. They used to put it there because, you know, it's like a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and people are just zipping through there. So they don't have no capabilities to capture nothing. It just says that you're speeding.
It doesn't have a little chip and it records, you know, the speeds that people drive.
But there's no correlation back to the vehicles, no pictures, anything?
You know.
Because, I mean, if you put it out there, what you want to know is, are people speeding on this road? And if you pull a little chip out and put it in your computer, and it records these high speeds, 60, 70 miles an hour on a county road, then you know you got a problem.
Yeah, well,
People are driving that, Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but I mean, that will electronically document it, you don't know you have a
Run your
problem.
bubble here, but they'll have to be calibrated. You know, fine.
But it's one of those things, I mean, we're all having to step up right now. We need all the help we can get. I mean, if you're alive and you're out there, call.
Well, if we
Yeah.
had, I guess where that's going is, if we had one of those little things, I don't know what they cost, but we could kind of move $5,000.
Yeah,
Kind of
well, I
move
need like
around the
6 of
county.
them. You give me 6 of them today, I'll take them. No, I'm serious, they're around 5,000.
But they're not certified either.
No, it's just a.
No, but I
warning
mean,
device.
it's just a deterrent.
It's a warning device, and like I said, if you put them out there on the county roads, you gotta have somebody monitoring. They have a hard time keeping them on the
It
main.
ended up
road.
missing.
They be coming up.
Next thing you know, just say, "Oh, Will Council," or something.
But that's what it is. You got them way out here in the country,
You go out,
again.
you go out there and you put up these 25-mile-an-hour signs, and next day you come out there, somebody done run over it.
Exactly.
I guarantee you, every one of my scenes has been run over. It's a waste of money, unless we have somebody do something about it.
Kind of simple.
Can you take down
And
the
like that
license
man
plates and
said,
issue
right
a,
down
call
the
you and
license
give the
plate.
license plates and you can issue them citation?
Here we
No.
go again.
No, you can't.
No, you can't, because one thing, you're not having nothing calibrated. You're driving in a vehicle, you're chasing a car, you don't have a calibrated vehicle, you're a witness, you do all this, you're gonna wind up in court, the next thing you know, you're gonna be testifying in something, how you do this, and you was also traveling at that rate of speed. So, that's a given. So I had 2 people instead of 1 person traveling at that rate of speed, because you're not deputized, you're not sworn, you're just a concerned citizen, which is good. And I keep saying, everybody need to get out here, get involved. If you see something, call the sheriff's department, write down a license plate number, throwing trash out. Everybody has, this is our county, let's take it back. I keep saying, let's take it back. You look, everything's kind of, everybody kind of left, you know, but here we are again. Let's take care of our county. People, I mean, really, you gotta get involved. And I've got 6, openings, fantastic. I'm trying to find 6 deputies that somebody else that don't want. And it's been a real hard pick. Like I maybe have 1 out of about 7 to 10 applications right now.
How about you have 3?
Well, I got some emails in the other day from people.
You wanna take no action, wait
So,
till we get everything.
simple.
We'll take no action on number 26 like we did. All right, number 27 is the payment of bills. Sir, you said something else? Were you saying something else?
You get everything together. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Do it all.
You got the real copy?
We'll hold you to that, Bob.
Okay. I'm a short time, right?
On a long leash.
I'm a short timer, I do whatever the hell I want.
That's right.
Just to point out to y'all on page 1, we have issued 36,000 plus to MJ Boyle on courthouse phase 1. We have 2 checks totaling a little over $100,000 to Don Kruger. And that would probably bring us up to about 98% complete on the contract. There still are some contingency items that have to be addressed. Other than that, most other bills in here are in the norm. On page 6, you'll see the $28,000 disbursements to Waukesha Pierce on grant monies where we got the switch exchanges through grant funds through DPS. That's actually paying for them. We have received the funds, so it's an in and out situation.
This is for the annex?
Notice on Road and Bridge on page 7, we had to change into utilizing Road and Bridge special funds for materials and hauling because we have utilized all the budget in Road and Bridge regular. So again, we need to get that information from Jeff so a plan can be figured out so that we can draw on those bond monies that were approved for road materials.
Jeff left. I asked Jeff about that. We need to set up a planning meeting with him or something. I don't know if you and I want to do it by ourselves and.
Well, we can't do it until we have that information.
Well, you brought me in a sheet, and it's really not what we asked for, but it has a list of county roads and a lot. It's one piece of notebook paper, so I think we need to talk to him and explain specifics. Maybe we need to email him, just you and I figure out the email and then explain to him exactly what he needs to bring in. Because he always says, yes, that's what I'm gonna do, and that's not what I get. So.
Well, if you remember back during budget time, a worksheet was presented on how to classify the roads. And there were guidelines, but then.
I don't think it was ever approved. I kept thinking it kept getting beat down and beat down and beat down. It was too much.
Correct.
So, but we need that because it's impossible for us to sit down and write any long-term plan for the county when we're missing the pieces of the puzzle.
That's correct.
I mean, so there we are with that one. But anyway, back to bills. I make a motion to pay bills as presented.
I'll say.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. The next item on the agenda, not everybody jump at once, to adjourn.
Judge,
Yeah.
before we do that, I want to give y'all a heads up. The jail commission was called the other day by a concerned citizen here in Karnes County, said there's some infractions being done. I was contacted by George Johnson, who's our inspector. George Johnson came in, checked everything, did an audit on my jail inmates and stuff over the past several years, and he gave us, as of yesterday, no violations had been made.
Thank you, George.
And keep doing business as usual. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome.
We knew you were doing it right.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.